podcast on YouTube, stand by. All right, aloha to those of you who are watching this on YouTube, possibly in the future. This is our first of many Paradigm Shift Central hosted Clubhouse discussions. So we're live on Clubhouse right now. We're recording this session, and we're going to start things off by bringing on some of our leading members on air, and we'll get the conversation rolling. And this is going to be about 90 minutes of spiritual inspiration. We'll be talking about what inspires us spiritually. This is just practice. It's pretty chill. It's just going to be an opportunity for us to be able to hang out here on the fly and to be able to invite other people in the community, to be able to learn a little bit more about what the vibe of the Paradigm Shift Central community and our team is like. And yeah, just be able to build as a team, build some morale, and have fun hanging out with each other. So with that said, we're going to bring on some of our leading members on stage right now. So Miracle bringing you on, Justine and Kristen, and Amanda bringing you guys all on air right now. So hey everyone, welcome on air. Thank you guys for joining.
Hi Brandon, thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hi Kristen.
Hello.
Hi Amanda. Yo, hey Mika. Awesome.
Hi.
Welcome everyone for joining. For those of you who are in the audience, and even for those of us who are on the call as well, if you guys want to ping some friends, go ahead and do that. And yeah, welcome to Clubhouse. Welcome to Paradigm Shift Central on Clubhouse. Like, we've done how many of these broadcasts yet? Even still, this is new territory, so this is exciting. And Clubhouse, for those of you who aren't familiar, is an audio-based social media application that really fosters on the fly inspirational discussions of all sorts. And so it was only a matter of time until we here within the Paradigm Shift Central community got to be able to get ourselves together and be able to have some discussions here. We do regular team podcasts all the time on Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST, but this is kind of like an in-between, and again, just a cool way for us to be able to practice. And myself and any of the other leading members that we have on air tonight, you'll be hearing more from them, and I'm sure they'll be hosting their own discussion circles as time unfolds. For those of you on TikTok or Instagram, if you guys click the link in my profile, you can join in on YouTube, and then through the YouTube link you'll see the Clubhouse link as well. I know it's a bit of a caveat, a little bit of an extra step there, but yeah, we're doing things differently here. So with that said, let's get things ready and started and really just set the intention of the room. So for about the next 90 minutes, maybe 60 minutes, we'll see how it flows. What we're going to be doing, we're just going to be kind of practicing talking about spirituality, what inspires us spiritually, introducing each other, featuring each other as members of the team, inviting more people to be able to connect, and yeah, and just having some fun. So shout out to those of you in the YouTube chat as well. And like we said, please feel free to invite more people. And this is just the start of a grand adventure that we are on. So let's talk first about what is spirituality. Like, what is spirituality and what inspires us spiritually? You know, maybe we can talk a little bit about our personal journeys, how we got started on spirituality. Let's just kind of get this ball rolling, and let's just allow spirit to kind of speak through us. So spirituality for me is, I'll just give a short answer and then I'll pass the talking stick. I think spirituality for me is, in many ways, it is about a relationship. It is about being able to expand our understanding of our relationship between ourselves and our surroundings and other people. And it's really being able to see with more than just our eyes, to see with sight beyond sight, and to see that which is often hidden yet always there. So I'm not going to talk too much here. Let's just get the other leading members into the circle and let's just see where this conversation goes. So thank you again, everybody, for joining in. And we got Zentia. I'm going to bring you up on stage in the next moment. So whoever wants to unmute themselves, we'll pass the talking stick over to you, and go ahead and briefly introduce yourself and just tell us, you know, like, what is spirituality to you? What inspires you spiritually? And yeah, let's just have some fun talking together and inspiring one another. So whoever wants to unmute themselves, go right ahead. And yeah, we'll get things rolling here. So beautiful. Awesome. All right, just bring Zentia up on stage there. So go ahead, Kristen.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for holding this space and joining together. Always a pleasure to be able to have these empowering conversations with you beautiful souls. Spirituality for me is all about learning about the different parts of my being and the ways that we interact with one another. I love being able to explore all of the different ways that we can heal and inspire and motivate just within our own journeys as we interact with each other. And so that's, for me, one of the most empowering and favorite parts of spirituality.
I like that. Yeah, spirituality and healing, I think, go hand in hand. Whoever wants to jump in next, go right ahead. And welcome to Zentia, who joined us on stage. Welcome, Zentia. So you guys can go ahead. We'll just passing that talking stick. I know it's a little bit different from our video chats. I can't like cue you guys in the same way, but you guys know the flow. Amanda, go right ahead.
Hi, Amanda. So, spirituality for me is pretty much the same thing. It's this healing journey that I've been on, and just learning to trust myself and trust my guidance. And it's really all of you guys and the community that we've built that inspires me to go further with my healing, and basically just open myself up to more of what's out there in the world and what we could possibly experience, and the knowledge that we can all gain from each other.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. Whoever wants to jump in next, go right ahead. Passing that talking stick. Go for it, Zentia.
Hey, I'm Zentia, and I'm used to my Clubhouse intro. Sorry, go on. I'm Zentia, and I'm a part of Paradigm Shift Center. And
Zentia, you got yourself muted there. There you go. Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Paradigm Shift Central has changed my entire life. I met amazing people here. The business resources here for the spiritual creator are pretty insane, I think, because Brendan facilitates an open, safe space every single time. I've never showed up to this space ever and felt like my voice wasn't heard, felt like I was being shamed or anything. I'm always met, and this is from every member here, with openness and explanations, and a lot of times clarity and comfort. So what spirituality means to me. So for me, spirituality is an ever-going quest that we're on to reunite with our oneness, with our absolute light inside, and alignment for our highest purpose here. It's a unfolding Pandora's box of the self unfolding onto and through the many dimensions at the same time.
Beautiful. Well said, Zentia. And guys, for those of us in the as the speakers on here, I know there's like that thing on Clubhouse where like if you tap your mute button, that's like you like doing like approval. That's like you like clapping for the person talking. So if you guys see something you resonate with, do the tap 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 thing. That's like kind of like the 11:11. Yeah. You guys figure that out. So okay. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think we'll talk more about this, but spirituality for me goes hand in hand with awakening to the idea that we literally are multidimensional beings by nature, and what does that mean? So we'll keep passing the talk and stick around. So whoever wants to go ahead and speak next, and again, for those of us on the circle, please feel free to ping your friends and invite more people into the room. Justine, go ahead. Welcome.
Hi everybody, Justine. I think what's most inspiring me lately in my spiritual practice and journey is like the power of nature. Like I am just absolutely in awe. Depending where you are in the world, you may or may not have heard on the news, but I'm in Texas where we're having a storm that's breaking records from like the 1800s. And just like watching the animals respond and the environment respond, and even just like the pure joy of my Labradoodle getting to like roll his snoot in the snow has just been like really reaffirming the beauty and mystery of life for me. And I'm blessed to have been raised in a very spiritually awake way. And it's like a reconnection with nature that I haven't experienced in a mystical way since probably childhood. So it's just been really beautiful this week.
I love that. I love even just kind of like the first mention of like the word mystical, because again, I think that's something that we can definitely explore a little bit more. So beautiful, awesome. And who would like to go next? Mika, Mirkal, go right ahead, dude.
Hello, I'm Micah, and I was just kind of got awestruck there for a moment, just thinking about like what spirituality means to me. And in this moment, I'm kind of emotional. I don't even know why, so I'm just kind of allowing that to be. But honestly, it saved my life, you know. So that's kind of what it means to me. That's it's helped give me that guidance system inside to allow me to follow my intuition. It's really moved me, I guess, in a different way. And that's what it's inspired me to want to share that with other people.
That's beautiful, Micah. Thank you so much, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, and so again, you know, at this point in typical Clubhouse fashion, you guys are used to me kind of facilitating here, but let's just kind of use our intuition to pass the talking stick around. So at this point, if you guys kind of hear somebody that says something and you feel inspired to respond to it, please by all means go ahead and do that. This is all just practice, and we'll just do our best to respect each other and to honor, just, you know, try not to talk over each other intentionally, but we're all doing our best here. But yeah, no, Micah, I think that's beautiful. And you know, again, I think in so many ways, like spirituality for many people is literally, you know, for a lot of people, they'll go through life and I've seen this. I'll see people literally go through life and if they haven't really been taught about spirituality or they haven't really had the opportunity to explore it themselves, it seems as if there's almost kind of like this box that they're perceiving the world through, and sometimes that box can be very limiting. And so I think, you know, for our souls, spirituality is liberation. It's nothing short than liberation, and it really opens us up to this idea of like, oh my goodness, like there actually is something more. Like I don't know how much more, but I know there is something more, and I know there's a bigger reason as to why I'm here, and there's a bigger mystery as to what this reality is, and I know it's more than just, you know, what's on the news and paying money and things like that. Like there's a depth to spirituality. There's layers that we peel back, and so again, you know, in the theme of spiritual inspiration, I think in a lot of ways, like you were saying, Micah, when we start kind of going through our spiritual journey and start having those aha moments, those moments when we connect the dots, the visceral experiences, like those for me are like the spiritual moments, something that you don't just read in a book, but the visceral firsthand experiences, the synchronicities, when they start happening, you're just like, you know, it's like, who here has had those moments where you're just like, oh my God, like, I think the universe is talking to me. Like, I literally think the universe is like talking to me right now. Like, this is crazy. There's like something more than just me that's happening here. And I can sense there's like a bigger me that's kind of unfolding. So anybody else who wants to jump in and just kind of riff off those vibes, please go right ahead. No particular order at this point. So
yeah, that happens for me pretty much all day long at this point. I'm constantly getting signs and synchronicities and just get called into different people's rooms, and I'm so much in the flow of things right now that I'm literally just listening to everything that the universe has to tell me and just going where I'm guided, and it's crazy and wonderful and terrifying and just magical at this point. And I have no idea what's going on from day to day, but that's half the fun of it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Anybody else? Go ahead. Yeah, Micah, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's spirit really moved me in that moment. I realized that now. Just kind of recognizing the journey that I've went through, you know, over the years, and kind of how spirituality was that guidance system. You know what I mean? It was me learning my higher self and how I talk to myself, how that intuitive nature works within me, and that's that divinity within, that divine trinity talking consistently within me, that's kind of like pushed through to show up in this moment and to stay, you know, synchronized. You know, everything around is synchronicity because you're always in that moment, and it's just beautiful. Yeah.
Go for it, Kristen. Yep.
I would love love to talk on the synchronicities and signs that come our way in the form of almost a puzzle or a game. It's one of my favorite things to do, to have a question or a topic that I'm wanting to learn more information about, and set the intention to have signs and synchronicities come to me throughout my day, or a set period of time that just kind of lead me in the direction of the wisdom I'm searching for, or the skills that I'm looking to connect with. And how beautiful it is to just be able to find that flow and follow the signs.
I love that. I love that. Again, like spirituality in many ways is like, because again, it's like we're never not spiritual. Like that's the thing. Depending on one's definition, it is more about just kind of like the constant evolution of our awareness of that which we are, of that which is. Alan Watts will talk a lot about this. This idea of it's like you are that which is. Like you are that. You are what it is. But once we become aware of what it is, we realize that what it is like this beautiful interlinking tapestry that folds in on itself through space and time. And so once we start realizing, again, this idea that yes, everything is spirit, everything is spiritual, and therefore, it's kind of like unlocking this ability to be able to, what I consider to be this opportunity to move through this reality with more grace and with more ease, and also with more depth and with more like presence and appreciation. So like spirituality is the road to presence, spirituality is the road to deep gratitude, spirituality is the road to potential in a lot of ways. So I think, again, like for me, that inspires me. It like, I remember on my spiritual path, a lot of it was the journey of connecting the dots. And I've always said this, where it was always this feeling where a lot of it didn't feel like it was so much this idea of like learning something new as much as it was remembering something I already knew, like remembering something old, remembering something like very old, like when you kind of start like realizing, you're like, wait a second, like the yin yang suddenly means something much more to me now, or like, again, kind of actually having that personal deep realization that you are a soul. Like I think each of us probably have had that moment at some point where when we were born we probably had it, but we couldn't vocalize it, and then we had to go through the amnesia, and then eventually we remember again. It's kind of like Neo waking up in the Matrix kind of thing. It's like, oh, aha, oh, whoa, like straight up like Keanu Reeves style. And then again, this is something we can talk about. It's like, okay, yes, you're waking up, you're realizing that you are this like infinite eternal soul, and then what do you do with that information? So anyways, just talking off the top of my head, what do you guys want to go ahead, just keep jumping in next. Justine, and then I think Amanda wanted to jump in after that. Go ahead, Justine.
My immediate thought when you were speaking is a concept I've been re-engaging with recently, often described as the spirituality of the mundane. And I've just been realizing it connects so many, ancient and modern traditions, thinking about the yin-yang energies that are present in everything, or even something as mundane, and modern as like breathwork meditation. There's magic in the breath. There's energy in everything, and it's something we can't see. Even if you consider, quantum physics, dark matter represents that which we can't quite measure yet, but we know it's there. We know there's something else there in the universe, even from the most scientific standpoint, going back to the deepest spiritual traditions. And so I've been exploring recently, like, where can I notice the magic in the mundane?
Beautiful, beautiful. Amanda, do you want to jump in? I saw your mic open a minute ago. Or anybody else, feel free.
Yeah, it was when you mentioned the whole Matrix moment. That initial awakening is mind-blowing, but you have like so many little mini Matrix moments after that where all of these different things pop up, and then you're like, oh, this is new information. Now what do I do with this? And it's just a continuous leveling up of awakening after awakening, it feels like. And I don't know if there's ever really an end to it. It's cool. It's just kind of mind-blowing and overwhelming at times.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it is kind of like this, there's always more to be seen. And again, that's where, for me, I've always felt this approach of like, yeah, all this spiritual information is great, but how do we keep it grounded? How do we keep it practical? How do we keep it applicable in a modern day age? Like it's kind of interesting because the experience of spirituality shifts with the times, though at its core, it's primordial. It's weird to think, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a whole discussion itself, but it's weird to think that the awareness of kind of like the spiritual identity would have been more or less the same 500 years ago, but it just would have been in a slightly different context juxtaposed to the society around us, so to speak. But again, like I think for me, when I approach spirituality and going through my own personal spiritual, I'll just say this, and I'm just interrupting myself here real quick. Lisa, Kat, shout out to you guys in the chat, some of our leading members. If you guys want to jump on air, please feel free to raise your hand, and you guys are welcome to join on air as some speakers as well. And thank you again to everybody who's joining in, and please feel free to, again, follow some of our leading members on air. You guys know how to do that. Click their username, etc., etc. And we'll bring on some more speakers here in a second. So what I was going to say, you guys can hear the beeps there for those of you on YouTube. So what I was going to say, and for those of you on YouTube, join in on Clubhouse if you've got Clubhouse, or just keep listening on YouTube right now. But what I was going to say, like the practicalness of spirituality, very simply put, I think in a lot of ways goes back to empowerment. It goes back to helping people realize the potential that they have within this reality to co-create it, and thus in turn to be able to help alleviate suffering. So that for me is what I felt was a big motivation for my own spiritual awakening, where as I was starting to unravel these mysteries and connect these dots and really feel this inspiration immediately, like what I wanted to do. And this was, way back when I felt called to start Paradigm Shift Central over 10 years ago. It was this idea of just like, okay, I'm starting to see things. I don't know all the answers, but I want to be able to, I've felt that this has made a change in my life. It has added like a layer of texture to my life. It has made things brighter. It's made things more dynamic, more exciting. It feels adventurous. Again, more just magical. And I know other people can tap into that too. Relative, juxtaposed to like kind of like this mundane kind of dull, husky version of reality that a lot of people experience. So that's where I feel, again, in a lot of ways, the spiritual journey, the spiritual inspiration is very much the one of like the bodhisattva, which is again about being able to help like alleviate the suffering of others. So yes, it is about being able to remember who you are on a deep level, on a deep multidimensional level, and thus to be able to feel inspired, to be able to help bring your magic into this world, to be able to help others see the magic within themselves. So with that said, we're going to bring on a couple more of our speakers. Lisa, Kat, we're going to bring you guys on air. Any of the other leading members in the chat, Samantha, I can see you down there. Thank you for joining as well. If you guys want to join in as speakers, feel free to raise your hand. And Lisa and Kat and Samantha, bringing all you guys up on stage real quick. So thank you guys so much for joining in. And at this point, again, we're just going to, classic Clubhouse style fashion, we're just going to kind of go with the flow. And if you guys want to just jump in off anything I've said, please feel free. And first dibs we'll go Kristen, and then first dibs after that to any of our new speakers on air who just joined in. So Kristen, go right ahead. What you were going to reply with, go right ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brendan. I just wanted to speak on the magic of the mundane and actually how it ties in with what Amanda's talking about, and how, yes, at times the spiritual journey can be overwhelming, and there's moments you almost connect with so many things that you're like, which direction do I go in? Where do I go from here? I've gained so much wisdom. How do I apply it? And for me, it really is finding the magic in the small moments that helps me anchor that energy in. Just being able to find a simple act as going for a walk through the wood and finding my breath and connecting with the magic that exists in that space, or even just being able to find the peace that comes whenever I take the time to stop and clean my house, or slow down and do the dishes, mindful about what I'm doing in that exact moment, and seeing how being able to stop and slow down at times can really help give us that clarity that we need to be able to move forward and push us into that next phase of our awakening or our journeys.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Lisa, Samantha, Kat, if you guys want to jump in off anything, go right ahead. Again, just kind of talking about, we started off just asking, like, what does spirituality mean to us, as well as just like what inspires us spiritually. And then from there, we'll just kind of let the conversation go where it will. Lisa, Samantha, Kat, if you guys want to jump in, feel free. Lisa, go right ahead.
Hi, everyone. So I actually also wanted to touch on what Kristen and Amanda were saying about how it can be a bit overwhelming, especially like when you first start and when you're first starting out, your first awakening, and there's so much information out there nowadays, and there's so much, and it can be very overwhelming, and it's great that it's becoming so much, but then you have to navigate like what's true, what's not true, and so it gets to be a little bit, it gets to be extremely overwhelming, and I don't think there's really any other word for it. But how Kristen said, to take a moment and just to breathe and take a walk through the woods, and to just take like the small moments and enjoy those small like little synchronicities that we find in the world, it makes a world of a difference, and it helps calm that overwhelming anxious feelings that we get, and that everything is coming at you, but like to be able to take a breath and find the little things in each moment, and that to me is what spiritual inspiration, like that's what inspires me in every moment, to be able to breathe and know that this world that we live in, this life is like we're all connected, and that's kind of what inspires me to keep going.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Samantha, Kat, if you guys want to jump in next, please, by all means, go ahead. And we'll keep things moving along here. If anybody else, again, at this point, whoever wants to be able to jump in, please feel free to do so. And again, just speaking on this, I think it's important to be able to have these discussions, because again, I think in a lot of ways this is stuff that for many of us, like I remember like growing up, like spirituality just wasn't really something that was a part of my dialect. It wasn't really something that I had the opportunity to be able to speak to a lot of people with. It was mostly school and sports and Saturday morning cartoons and things like that. But now it's fascinating, because especially with the community that we've created here through Paradigm Shift, it literally is each and every single day we are living and breathing spirituality, and that's where again I think spirituality, it is about being able to learn things, but it also is about the embodiment, and it's being able to develop skill sets and tools to be able to work through the challenges, and to be able to have that higher perspective, and then again to be able to show up in service for others. I think for me, my spirituality is something that has propelled me towards being able to discover more of my personal purpose. And one thing that I always kind of talk about with people is this idea of like, find your purpose in service, and you don't have to be an expert in spirituality in order to be able to hold space to invite others to be able to get curious and to talk about it. And I think that's the thing with spirituality that I've always found, and I'll just say this, and anybody else who wants to jump in, that's always inspired me, has always been this idea that I don't think we necessarily need to go around and telling people, what to think, so to speak. But I think with spirituality, it really is about being able to connect with our own inner truth, our own inner realization, realizing that this information is already inside of us. And then what we can do is serve as sacred mirrors to be able to help people see it within themselves, and to be able to invite them to ask questions, like literally to ask them questions, be like, oh, well, like, what do you think about dreams? What do you think about reincarnation? What do you think about, like other dimensions or UFOs and all of these things that may seem separate on the surface, but are actually quite connected? So again, that's where for me, what inspires me spiritually is the idea that each and every single one of us has this spark inside of us, and for me that gives me a lot of hope, because I think when we show up as as light guardians, as paradigm shifters, as we talk about in the community, and we simply stand in our own truth and serve in our own example, it really gives other people permission to be able to start exploring those questions themselves, and when we create those space, it really allows them to be able to connect the dots and to be able to have their own aha moments where they're just like, oh, this is what spirituality means to me, you know, like that's what's important. Like I can tell you what spirituality means to me, but what does spirituality mean to you? You know, like that's something that you have to learn, and that's a question that you have to live. So anybody else who wants to be able to jump in, go right ahead, and we will pass it over to the next speaker. So passing that talk and stick around. Who wants to jump in next? Go right ahead. Pass over to Micah. Go ahead.
So it's like opening the door to get people to start thinking for themselves. Like when you think about the Matrix, or you think about like what it is to free ourselves from or return to, right? We're trying to return to freedom or sovereignty or divinity. So spiritual inspiration is like opening the door to imagination, to start thinking differently, so you start building a new reality, so we start experiencing and we start evolving as a collective consciousness. And through like each of us finding that spiritual inspiration, or going back to what we were talking about a little bit, the mundane, right? Just today, I literally said to my wife, I was like, all right, I'm going to go do a dishes meditation. I went and washed the dishes and meditated. And like, it's finding those moments divine, and finding those moments in spark. And that helps to find spark in things that wouldn't otherwise be seen that way, and seeing like the beauty in even the smallest thing, which allows to shift the perspective in the largest kind of way. It's along the same lines of like the butterfly effect. Like if I personally change the way that I think about this one little thing, it does affect the way someone else does or says, or, you know, perceives something in another way somewhere else. And like, we all have that power within us. And I think a lot of the awakening and the ascension is to really to get us as humans, as a collective, to really start thinking and shifting our perspective in that direction, to think like that as a oneness. But we have to first find that oneness within us.
I think
Beautiful. Go for it, Zentia.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said, and what a lot of us have said here about just finding the magic in the mundane, inserting the joy into everything that happens during the day, waking up, being grateful literally for your first breath, like I'm awake. That's dope. Team morning meditations. We have amazing team morning meditations, and I'll be weird and say I miss you guys on the week. You know, getting the
we miss you too, Zentia.
You know, just having the set space and the intention of waking up every day to embrace your spiritual side, to embrace your gifts, even though people don't talk about very often. I think it's brave for every person in the room and every person that we are able to connect with on this level to express these gifts, to share them, and actually not just mention them, but use them in the world, and not be afraid here at Paradigm Central to talk about the stuff that other people don't want to, but we're all thinking it. Why aren't we talking about it? You know, it's a really integral part to every part that we live in. All of the space that we exist in and the space that we don't exist in, I feel needs to be explored. What else would we do? I don't understand how you cannot be curious. Everyone at some point is curious. There's something that I believe happens to everyone at some point in their life, at least once, where they have to question their reality. They have to think, just maybe there's more here than I've realized. So the more we find the joy in the small things, having gas in the car to go to the store, having an oven to heat up our food, or a microwave, being able to walk up to take out the garbage, or going on a vacation, all of those moments that you have that go to the heart space, the memory bank of the heart space, are gifts, and they turn out healing for us in the world. And I think, I don't know, through that, our spirituality will grow closer within ourselves, but also closer to each other.
It's beautiful. Go ahead, Amanda. Yep.
Honestly, for me, it's the consistency that we have in this community. Like Zentia mentioned, the morning meditations that we have all week long, and then Rob's meditations at night that is going to be starting in about half an hour. Those get me through the week. And then Kristen having her homeroom on Sunday and our family movie nights on Sunday. It's having those things to look forward to every single day that makes it easier to deal with all of the overwhelming stuff. I don't really find, like, I find joy in everything that I do, but I don't find the mundane stuff as much as just the consistency within our community that is magical to me. Knowing that I'm going to wake up in the morning and this is going to happen today. And I get to spend time with my family. That just gives me an extra reason to enjoy my day.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I think I'll just say this for a second, and then we'll just reset the room. Even though literally everybody tuned in right now, like this is all in Clubhouse. This is all leading members, but we got a bunch of people tuned in on YouTube right now. So shout out to everybody on YouTube. And Abby, Kaylee, Erica, if you guys want to jump on stage to be able to say anything, you're more than welcome. And we just brought Casey up here as well. So welcome to Casey on stage, and also Jessica we brought up a couple moments ago. But yeah, like again, when I'll just say this real quick. Again, I think what's important with spirituality is literally approaching it as something that it literally is a practice, meaning it is something that you must continue to develop and work on and exercise. And it is something that is, kind of like a modality that leads you into deeper parts of yourself. It is the method to be able to help pull back the layers, like being spiritual is something that you are simply by being born. But the act of like developing your own spirituality, I think, is the act of developing your routines and your practices that connect you with that spiritual awareness. So, a lot of people can say like, oh, like I'm spiritual. And it's just like, yeah, of course you are. But what do you practice to be able to kind of like, develop that connection and maintain that connection? Because I think we've probably all experienced this in some ways where, we like anything, we kind of go through waves where our spirituality may be something where we wake up for, a while and then we're super excited and we're doing it and we're practicing meditation and we're doing stuff, and then something else happens in our life and then we kind of maybe just move away from it and we move away from the practices and we kind of get sucked into another vortex and things like that, and that doesn't mean that you're not spiritual still at that point, but again, to practice spirituality is a thing in itself, which I think is super powerful because it continues to nurture the heart, it continues to enrich the soul, to keep us boosted, to keep us again kind of inspired on a daily basis, and even inspired to be able to work through the challenges. Like that's the thing, I think everybody here within the Paradigm Shift community, we're very self-aware of the fact that we're not shying away from the idea that being spiritual is, just this like total positivity, toxic positivity kind of concept. But again, I think the practices that we create are so important, and more so not just and this is, I'll just say this real quick, the practices that we do individually are incredibly important, but what I'm super interested in, state the obvious, as many of you have come to experience and understand, is the practices that we do as a community. And so this is where it's kind of really cool, because I think a lot of us are starting to really see this, where we've always talked about this idea of like creating a off the grid eco village and this new earth community and how beautiful that is, and I still work towards that, and I think that's a beautiful vision. But here we are right now online, where we have literally created a digital version of that community. And take a moment to sit with that, because I think it might be one of those things where it's like, okay, we've kind of gotten used to being an online community that we don't really think about it quite in that way, but really think about it that way, where it's like we wake up together and we practice together and we hold space for each other and we do meditations and we celebrate and we dance, all the things that we would literally do if we were physically in like an actual beautiful, cute, adorable community type thing. So again, I think spirituality is one thing to be able to do it within our own practices, but then I think spirituality is the journey of finding soul tribe and finding soul family and building this team and doing something that is bigger than just any one of us alone, and lifting each other up and rising together as a community. So yeah, that's part of what I feel spirituality is. We're gonna bring on Abby here, and then anybody else, please feel free to jump in. Does that resonate with you guys? Do you guys really feel that this whole like kind of like digital village that we've created? Can you see it? Do you feel it? Go ahead. Anybody wants to jump in?
Yeah.
I can.
I just want to say, I think that I've been in another Clubhouse room in Brandon. They're stealing your how, so we're gonna have to like reclaim it inside of this space.
What? What do you mean by that? I'm okay with that.
Like, yeah, like I was in a room of celebrities and everyone was literally just howling.
Oh, my howl. Oh, that's what you said. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it belongs to the wolves anyway, so. That's cute, though. I like that. So, cool. Zentia, anything else? And then, Kristen, you got your mic open. We'll pass over to... Okay, go ahead, Kristen. Yeah, and we just brought Abby up on stage, so welcome to Abby as well. Go ahead, Kristen.
Wolf spirit sharing, I love it. No, I really wanted to speak on the shared spaces, the shared spiritual experiences that we encounter with one another and how absolutely powerful they are. Whenever you were speaking, Brendan, it brought up a direct memory for me about my full moon ceremonies and how it's something that I've been kind of in my own silent practice for many years. And it wasn't until I met Samantha, another amazing leading member, who was holding space to do a shared ceremony. And in that experience, feeling the energy and the powerful nature of just being able to hold space with such powerful intention and love-centered beings, and experiencing something on a level that I had never been able to do before, simply because I had not opened myself up to sharing my spiritual experiences. And then being able to move forward and say, now we share healing ceremonies and meditation spaces and spaces where we just gather like we are today, sharing inspiration and wisdom with one another, and how absolutely empowering it is every time we come together and we share space, even in just the smallest of ways, of how we can inspire others, and also like holding absolute love and joy for the tiny moments where you say just maybe one or two words that can absolutely change somebody else's day, and knowing that we have the opportunities each and every day that we share these spaces with one another to be able to experience that and encourage each other, and stand with one another whenever we see that maybe somebody is suffering or going through something difficult, but knowing that we never have to go through that alone because we always have one another. And just knowing how absolutely beautiful and special it is.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Kristen. Anybody else, go ahead and jump in, guys. And we'll keep. We're gonna wrap up this call at about 8:30. So that's gonna be part of the intention here, is to just keep this short and sweet. And you know us, we'll always be back. But I like doing this call because, again, I feel like this is a good kind of in between our official podcast, where it's just it's just more practice. So thank you again, everybody, for joining in. I'll reset the room in a second. But let's pass it over. Jessica, did you have your mic open? Did you want to jump in? Anybody else? Go after that.
I love what you guys are talking about, and I kind of wanted to circle back to this kind of idea of ebb and flow, with your spiritual journey. I definitely resonate with that a lot, and I think one particular perspective that I'm gaining with that is that there's a lesson and there's growth that happens in the absence when we take a step back from our spiritual, ritual or routine and everything like that. I often have felt like, it's something I need to seek and like find my way back to as quickly as I can. But every time I do that, there's that balance that has to happen. And I'm realizing, okay, well, if I take the time, again, echoing, like, take the time to find that divine in that small moment, even if it's kind of a low point, even if my routine is off, there's a lesson there. And often when I finally accept that and look at it and sit with it, then I get to go up to that next step, and suddenly I'm provided with more. And it's just I'm finding that in this space a lot, and I'm still learning to trust that. But it's really interesting coming into Paradigm Shift Central. Everyone's at their own stage. Everyone's, some people are beginners, some people have been here from the beginning, some people have been practicing things before they found here, some people are just finding out what they want to do. So it is really unique in what people are bringing to the table, and the space there is created to allow you to kind of play and trust yourself, because that really, it's this weird dynamic of having that balance between people that will help you, but you have to do it yourself if you really are able to get to that next stage. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica, and thank you again, everyone, for just being here. And I'm just gonna reset the room real quick. That's a thing that they do on Instagram, right? See, I'm learning here. We're learning the lingo. They say that they're like, no, I'm just gonna reset the room. So let's do that. Let's reset the room. Even though literally, I think our primary audience on Clubhouse is us right now, but we got about 10 people tuned in on YouTube, which is awesome. And again, if you guys want to ping some people to invite them into this call, please feel free to do that. We got about a half hour left on this with some more inspiration to be able to share. But again, with creating Paradigm Shift, the thing that I'll just kind of reiterate, for me, a big part of it has always been about helping inspire you guys to be leaders and to teach you how to be able to hold sacred space of your own. So that's what I've done. I've gotten good at being able to facilitate space. I'm still learning. I'm still getting better at it. And then it's simply by you participating in it, you thus in turn are actually learning implicitly and explicitly about realizing, hey, I can do this too. And then again, what we're seeing here in the community is this idea that, each and every single one of us becomes this individual portal and vortex that brings other pieces of brings other people together, brings other pieces of the community together, creates other additional community spaces where even more important conversations are happening. And then that just kind of continues to ripple out. So again, that for me goes back to this idea of like spiritual inspiration, is this idea that knowing each and every single one of us is on this spiritual journey. And you're right. It's not, as Jessica was saying, it's not this idea of like doing the work for each other, but holding space and seeing each other as we encourage each other to do the work that is needed for us. And again, kind of helping lead each other up the mountain. So no shifter gets left behind as we climb our way up the mountain. So let's keep the talking stick bouncing around here. So whoever wants to be able to jump in and again, reciting the room here. This is our Paradigm Shift Central team discussion, our first one on Clubhouse. We're recording this. We're broadcasting on YouTube. If you're tuned in on YouTube and you're enjoying the broadcast, drop some 1111s in the chat. If you want to join in on Clubhouse, you can find the link in the info for this video. You can follow me at Mystic Spider-Man. If you do that, that's the easiest way to be able to make sure that you can see all the profiles of all the speakers so that you can follow them on Clubhouse and even connect to their Instagram and check out their services. They got a lot of awesome things to be able to help support you with. So much love there in the community. So make sure that you connect with everyone. But again, if you're not on Clubhouse yet, nonetheless, thank you again for being tuned in on YouTube. And tonight's topic is just about spiritual inspiration, talking about spirituality, what it means to us. No particular direction, really just allowing ourselves to be able to practice and sharing, again, just this beautiful space together as a team. And please feel free to ping people and invite them in as people do on Clubhouse and stuff like that. So anyways, okay, let's keep things going around. Anybody who had anything you guys want to say, again, just about, what inspires you spiritually, what inspires you on your spiritual journey, I think is a great question to be able to ask, or anything else that you feel called to share relative to this open-ended topic. Abby, if you wanted to jump in with anything, feel free. I saw you unmute a while back, so go ahead, Abby, if you want to jump in. Welcome.
Yeah, hi guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit about when we fall off our path and my inspiration in that. I've been on this awakening journey for a couple months or a while now, and been struggling through these transitions and acceptances and the building of the community, and just having everyone to know, like Lisa said, we're not doing it alone, has been the inspiration for me. You guys have all been here to hold space, and that's what lifts me up. And I wake up now and I am trying to find these mundane things and find gratitude in the mundane things like I didn't realize I wasn't before, and how much that can make a difference.
from a day-to-day, not just in my life, but in the people that I live with, their lives too. So that's what has been really, really inspiring me, is the fact that when we decide to take care of ourselves and to appreciate these present moments, what it can do for someone else too, and how quickly it can change someone else's perspective. So yeah, I want to thank all of you for keeping these spaces up, and I'm excited to start stepping into myself and realizing when, we need to ask for help. And those are things that a lot of us on the spiritual journey struggle with. When we get into these rooms on the internet, we have to step back and ask ourselves, where are we not trusting ourselves? And then come back, and like we said, we learn lessons when we fall off, and then we come back and we reconnect, and we're like, okay, we can accept these synchronicities. And that's the magic that I find is so beautiful. And when we step back and we take ourselves away from the situation, and we learn to come back and we trust ourselves, and we trust the path that we're on, and we can again hold each other up in these times.
Beautifully said, Abby. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Go ahead. Just jump right in whenever you guys feel called.
Abby, I really feel called to speak to what you said about help. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about help. I'm somebody who's very resistant, hyper independent to a toxic level in my life, and so it's something I've had to work on quite a lot. And recently, it's really come to me that when we ask for help, that's an opportunity for us to show the universe our trust that help can and will come. Almost makes me think of the Harry Potter movie, the third one, where it's if you need it, help will come, the whole scene. Oh no, it's the second one, excuse me. But yeah, I think it's part of our spiritual practice to realize that help is available and help will come if we ask. And it can also be, a really powerful healing practice to learn to accept help as well, depending on the circumstances that led you to be so reticent around help. So I think it's really important that we all explore it. And, as we're coming into a new earth, a new paradigm, part of that is helping each other instead of being, competitive as if there's, only a finite amount of resource. Energy is infinite. So we get to help each other. We get to have help. And being in this space together is a beautiful part of that.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, both of you. Anybody else, feel free to jump in. I'm not going to moderate too much, so just go when you feel called.
Hey,
Hi,
everybody.
Jessica.
Hey. I know I've been quiet here recently, full-time job and homeschooling and stuff, but I just wanted to take a second and say that you all have inspired me, and to really embrace myself and become the person I've always wanted to be in a judgment-free, place, among you all. And, not be afraid of showing my true self and showing my spirituality to people, and building my confidence, and now even with my family, which I grew up very Christian religious and was always very spiritual as a child. And that was kind of hard for some of them. But they're starting to accept me because I'm fully embracing who I am, because I see all of you and you help so many people and you touch so many people, and I want to do that. And now I'm starting to do that, and I'm coming into my own. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for all of you beautiful people inspiring me. And now I feel grateful that because of that, I can now inspire others and hold safe spaces for others, so other people don't feel alone or feel ashamed of who they are or feel like this crazy world that can be so harsh, just steps all over a kind heart, and it makes you want to build up walls and be tough and not be so loving and open and kind to people. But through this and finding my spirituality again and finding all of you beautiful people who aren't afraid to love others and just be so welcoming, it's just been a beautiful experience for me. And now I have family and people who are accepting and starting to warm up to this new person who I am. And I'm also able to spread that now and help others feel confident in who they are. And I just wanted to thank you all for just being amazing people and doing what you do.
That's beautiful. Jessica, thank you so much. And again, just on Jessica saying that, I think again that just goes to show the ripple effect, and that's why we do this. Again, anybody else who wants to jump in, go ahead. I don't want to talk more than I'd rather listen to what everybody here has to say. So that was wonderful, Jessica. Thank you, and we're proud of you, Jessica. We're proud of you. It's beautiful to hear that.
Thank you.
Just jumping in on that a little bit. I've actually been helping, like, not just my kids, but my younger sister heal as well. I just recently found out that her relationship that just ended was with a narcissist as well, and nobody had any idea what she was going through. So in everything that I've been learning through the community, I've been kind of passing it down to her and helping her out with her healing. We actually had this amazing conversation during the meditation that we just had this afternoon, and did all of this inner child healing and like wounds that we had done to each other during childhood, and it was just miraculous, really. So like everything that we do in the community really does ripple down to the other people in their lives and the people that we see on a day-to-day basis.
It truly does. And again, I think it's one of those things where what spiritually inspires us is this knowing that what we have gone through in the past gives us the ability to be able to serve others in the future. And sometimes it can be hard for us to see that. But it's a very, very powerful thing to know that our story is bigger than us, and to be able to verbalize that and to be able to even just pass on that insight to others, because it's, as you're saying, Amanda, for the people that you're helping, those people, they'll be able to like go on and to help others and to help others and to help others, so it's something that is literally a ripple effect that's bigger than what we can see. And I think that for me is a big part of the paradigm shift, is that it's showing up in a way where we feel called, where we feel inspired, but we're doing it kind of in a very like we release the full desire to need to know what the grand impact of our actions will be. It's just kind of like you do what you feel called to do, you put it out there, you help those that you can, and then you let it go to the wind. And then who knows, kind of like the butterfly, as Micah was saying, who knows how far that will go. But it's kind of one of those things where it's just, if you listen, I remember for me when I was going through my spiritual journey, that there would be times within it where I would literally just have to check in with myself, and I would have to just say, like, if not me, then who? And if it was one of those things where it's just kind of like, I could convince myself not to do this, but if I don't, will that, like, what impact will or won't that have? And so when it comes to spirituality, I always kind of use this phrase, and I'll just say this and I'll pass the talking stick, about being able to help assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness. So consciousness will continue to shift regardless, but I think the power for us as individuals, as leaders, as creators, as space holders, as family members, as lovers, is how can our immediate actions today, tomorrow, next week, next month accelerate the shift in consciousness? What can we do that will just kind of like speed things up just a little bit more? It will just kind of open up a few more doors. It will just kind of, kind of lead, help people see things a little bit sooner. And then if each and every single one of us is doing that bit by bit by bit by bit, again, it's kind of like this idea where we're anchoring in these like future realities into the present, and we're aligning. This is where you kind of get into like, law of correspondence and attraction, or whatever you want to call it, where we're literally like aligning with these possibilities sooner rather than later. And I think, again, in today's day and age, that's important. There's like, time is very important right now. It's important to use time very wisely, and to use it to take care of ourselves, but then also to be able to use it in a way where we're deepening our practices, where we're showing up, where we're strengthening our ability to be able to confidently step into those circumstances where we can say, yes, I am going to do this because this will accelerate the shift in consciousness. How much? I don't fully know, but I know that I feel called to do it. And then when each of us are kind of doing that, and that's the thing, like, we're seeing this now, like we're seeing it. And even on Clubhouse, a lot of it, there are so many people who are actively helping assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness. And why? Because it's just like, it's spirit acting through us. It's what we are here to do. But at the same time, it's interesting because there is kind of like that free will to just let it go, to just say meh, and to just kind of step away. And I think that for me is actually a big part of the spiritual journey, is to be able to kind of observe those moments where we hit those plateaus, and then to be able to get curious about it, but with the intention to be able to kind of return back to a rhythm and a routine where we're in service again. But again, not negating the idea that, yes, absolutely, take time for yourself, take breaks for yourself, but like do it in a way where you're honoring the break, and you're loving yourself even deeper because you're willing to take the break, but you keep that call within your heart, knowing that, yes, I will continue to show up in the best ways I can as the story unfolds. Looks like Kaylee wants to be able to jump in with something. Kaylee, welcome to Clubhouse. Kaylee, go right ahead and share what you'd like to share. Welcome.
Thank you. Really grateful. Yeah, absolutely. First of all, like, being around you guys really does inspire me, and watching other people going through their healing processes and chipping away at those parts of themselves. And it's a really beautiful thing to be a part of a group of people all going through the same thing. I definitely have been feeling the weight of the collective the last few weeks, and I have had to take a bit of a step away from myself. I was kind of, at a point where I thought I was ahead on my healing, and I negated a little bit of shadow work, and some cycles that I hadn't healed years ago have recently come back up. I have been working at letting go of physical stuff, like around my house, and I actually had a few weeks back flood in my basement that took out a lot of those items that I was kind of just stashing away. So the universe giving me a bit of a nudge to, start working through those things. And at the end of that week, my basement, it kept flooding all week. It was like a whole thing with the city. But at the end of that week, I decided I was going to make a radical step for myself also, and go forth and quit my full-time job to give myself some more time to dedicate to my mental health, and furthering myself spiritually, and aligning with something that really resonates with me. So I've definitely been taking a step back the last few weeks, and kind of had to check myself a little bit and realize that there still is a lot of work to do. And, it's tough, but this week I started out, the meditation Brennan did this morning was like amazing. Just kind of, I've been getting this message a lot with the cycles of life, and I'm definitely in one of those right now. Having like quit my job, I actually unexpectedly lost my job about 3 years back, and that totally wrecked me. It took me such a long time to build back up my confidence and put myself out there for jobs. I I was unemployed for almost a year and a half, and it was a really hard time for me. But this time around in this cycle, I'm feeling really positive, really just feeling this whirlwind of a path in front of me, and knowing that this time I have community, I have myself, I'm actively working through things to align with my highest frequency. So I think just keeping, that in mind, that yes, absolutely take time for yourself, do some self-care whenever you need it, take a step back. But even tonight, I was really nervous to get on here. I know I've done a bunch of podcasts in the past, but tonight it was really hard, kind of building back up my confidence to get back on here and start putting myself back out there again, because I feel ready now. And I'm feeling really excited and really positive about all of it. And I just, again, really appreciate you all within the community that help inspire me to stay on my path, and know that good things are to come. It all works on your own time. So,
yay, Kaylee!
Yeah, Kaylee. We love you, Kaylee.
Yay! Thanks, guys. I haven't talked to you in a while, so it's all over.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
Lots of good stuff.
That's awesome. We've got about 15 minutes left in this call. I'd love to just be able to invite everybody here to just share, if you guys feel called, or if there's something else you feel shared, maybe like a little piece, or maybe even a couple pieces of like spiritual wisdom that has really helped you along your path. Maybe it's like a quote, maybe it's a perspective. If you want to take a moment to be able to think about it, feel free to do that. But if there's anything that anybody wanted to be able to jump in with ahead of that, you're welcome to do so now. I know we've got a couple speakers here. Kat, thank you for being here. Casey, thank you for being here. If you guys want to jump in at any point, please feel free. And this has been a wonderful experience. And thank you again, everyone, for being here and for hanging out and for growing and learning together. So if anybody wants to jump in right now with anything else they feel called to share, go right ahead, and we'll pass the talking skill to you. Jessica, go ahead. And then Tia after.
Okay.
Yeah. See the mics going back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. It's hard for me to pull off the top of my head. Like one person who came into my life like many years ago. I don't think she's on this plane any longer. But one thing she always said was, the only way out is through, and that's something that's always kind of stuck with me. Like even when I'm Kaylee, like what you shared helps so much, because I think hearing that in other people, it's like, okay, like everybody I'm coming into contact with is going through something similar right now in their own way. So kind of it gives me that space to trust when I'm going through a little bit more. But yeah, the only way out is through kind of has always been this mantra for me. And if I let that go, then I go through and then I'm out to the next stage. It's never ending, but it little breaks here and there.
Okay, so I love you guys so much, and this is just, I love just listening to our team and just all the love. It always fills me. I have my big family heart, so it's always makes me super happy to be together and be in our team. The two things that I would say that really have always kept me centered and aligned are always leave people and places better than you found them, and you're in alignment when it feels good. That was a big deal for me, even as a spiritual person, that it doesn't have to hurt and be painful and suffer. We don't have to suffer and struggle to be loving spiritual beings. It takes just the awareness of loving ourselves first. And when it feels good and is, flowing, you're on your spiritual path. And if it doesn't feel good, then you're not. And for me, that was one of the most simple, most beautiful lessons that I've been able to employ every single day to make sure that I'm staying on target. I'm not saying things aren't going to be difficult, but suffering is optional.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you as well. Jessica, anybody else? Go right ahead.
I'll share something. So I've just been jotting down, just doodling, trying to gather my thoughts, and something that helps me whenever I'm in like the fight or flight, sympathetic state of what's going on. I need to get back to like my parasympathetic, rest and digest, spiritual alignment, feeling grounded. I always say, where am I? Right here. Where am I? Right now. Right here. Right now, in this moment. I'm here. And I just kind of look around at the world and just like little acts of kindness, you know, if I'm on the highway, someone's racing to get over, you know, let that person over. Shoot them the peace sign. Buy someone's coffee. Wave. I know we have masks on sometimes in public. Maybe a simple wave, or here's this cart you can use. I just think to remind yourself, I'm right here. Give myself time to rest. Yeah. I was like, ooh, I'm so prepared. I'm going to jot down everything. But that was from the heart. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Casey, as well. Anybody else? I was just going to say, Amanda, if you want to go shortly, I know Rob's broadcast is starting soon, so if anybody's jumping off in a minute for that, we'll be wrapping up shortly. But Amanda or anybody else who wants to jump in, you guys are more than welcome to. And Zentia, Kristen, Zentia, juggle, maybe Amanda. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the best piece of advice that I was ever given was that it's okay not to be okay. You don't ever have to be perfect. You don't have to be happy all the time. It's perfectly fine to have down days. It's perfectly fine to be upset. It's perfectly fine to have feelings. Feelings are important.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amanda. Zentia or Kristen, or both at once, whatever you guys want to do. That's fine. Whoever wants to go next, go ahead. Oh, geez.
Zentia, go.
You can go ahead, son.
No, I love it, Amanda. My feelings are some of my absolute greatest teachers, so I'm so grateful you brought that up. I know for me on my spiritual path, the one bit of advice that I always go back to in my moments is to be gentle with your heart and to always remember to play with your soul. And if you're feeling a little bit lost, to slow down and look within. And that's always kind of what brings me back to my center.
Awesome. Thank you. Zentia, go ahead.
One of my favorite quotes is from the second spiritual book that I read. The first book, I don't know why, Spirit's calling me to share this, was a book called The Kabbalion. That was by the Three Initiates. That was my first book. My second book was The Emerald Tablets. And there was a line in that book, turn ever towards the light. I don't know why that stuck with me, but it did. And ever since I've read that, every dark moment that I've had, that's what pops into my mind, turn ever towards the light. And I think about there's a picture, and I don't know why it's slipping my mind, but it's used in spirituality all the time. It's two fingers touching, like from the heavens into earth. Like there's men on earth, then there's a hand coming from the heavens, and they're touching. And I think of that. There's a saying that my mother-in-law shared with me years ago, and she said from the church, and it was, you may feel like you're alone, but he never let your hand go. You let his go. And with my divinity, that's how I feel. My divinity has never left. My light has never left. I've tried to leave it due to confusion and misconceptions and my perception being warped, distorted even at times by 3D things and emotions. So turning ever towards the light is a great quote, I think, for me and for you guys. Whenever it gets dark, whenever it gets confusing, don't let your confusion be your conclusion and turn towards that light, because I promise you with everything in my soul
that light will never, ever, ever cease to burn.
I love that. Don't let your confusion be your conclusion. I love that. Never heard that phrase before. Thank you, Zentia. Lisa, go ahead. We got about 8 minutes left, so we're right on time.
Thank you a lot for that, Cynthia. That really hit deep within me. I also want to say I love the new picture. So one quote that stuck out in my head is from Dr. Seuss: "Today you are you. That is truer than true. There's no one alive who is youer than you." And I've been dealing a little bit with imposter syndrome recently, where it's like, what can I bring? What, like, someone else can do it better? All of those like negative thoughts as like ego kind of clouding my mind. And, that quote kind of brings me back to like, the fact is, you are who you are, and there's no one else that can bring what you can bring and can do the things that you can do, because there's no one else who is you, and you are you, and you have that light inside you that is yours. And so, you are you, so let your you-ness shine. And however weird, however crazy you may think it is, you're going to be reaching someone, and you're going to be inspiring someone, even if it's just yourself.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you, Lisa. Who else has not shared yet that would like to go ahead? Go right ahead. Well, Micah, go ahead.
So there's a few things that have really helped me through my journey up to this point. It's interesting. I think, Jessica, you talked about it. A quote that I was given in a PTSD program that I went through was "in and through." Now, when it comes to PTSD, like, you can sometimes be overcome with your emotions, and they can halt you in any moment, kind of freezing you and not really allowing you to navigate what's in front of you. But the only way to get to the other side is to go in through those emotions to come out on the other side, because there is always light on the other side, and that's kind of what's guiding you. Another one that really has always stuck with me was coat. Put your coat on. And that's it's a acronym, and it's curiosity, openness, adaptability, and transparency. And it's really just a reminder that, like, with your coat on, you have all of the protection that you need from anything that might be coming your way. And it allows you to kind of embrace life with a little bit of protection, I guess. And then another one was Q-tip, and it's quit taking it personal. And that's just, it plays along with the PTSD as well. It's like, sometimes you can get overwhelmed with your mind and can get lost in that. And that, just remember that it's not you. If someone else is dealing with something, it's not you, that's theirs. And you just keep going, don't take it personal.
Very powerful. Thank you, Micah. All right, we're almost done. Not expecting everyone to share. You guys don't have to, but again, invitations there for anybody else, or even if it's just closing gratitude, and then we'll wrap it up with some closing notes. So, anybody else feel called to share? I'll share just real quick again. For me, I really like the kind of going back to like the Alan Watts philosophy of just remembering that life is a dance, and it's not about reaching one particular destination on the dance floor, but rather it's about being able to enjoy the journey and enjoy the music. And I think that again is about being able to bring us back to the present moment. And even okay, here's one. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but it's like, to quote, was it from like Kung Fu Panda, where it's like the past is history, the future is a mystery, but the present is but now is now. Oh, I butchered it. But now is a present. Now is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Is that what I said? Yeah. The past is history, the future is a mystery, but now is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Something like that. Anyways, that was from Kung Fu Panda. The Magic Turtle said that. But yeah, I think being in the present moment is always just such a beautiful yet simple thing to be able to bring us back to. And again, for me, just kind of, I think a big part of my spiritual journey, and I know a lot of us as well, is just the importance of being able to help both ourselves and others, being able to bring people back to the heart space. And within the heart space, I feel that's where the solutions, literally can arise for whatever it is that we may be going through. So beautiful. Anybody else, any closing gratitude or any other wisdom and inspiration you would like to share? Please, by all means, go right ahead, and then we'll wrap up the room in a couple minutes. So thank you.
I just wanted to say I'm super happy to see you guys here, and I feel like in the spaces that I've been in, there's so much opportunity for our team here to share light. There's so many words we use in philosophies that people are really looking for. By the thousands, I'm seeing people needing healing in this space, and I'm needing healing in the space, and people just don't have the tools. So ping each other into the rooms, you guys. Put it up on Discord when you get into the rooms. Brendan, hold these and get Paradigm Central a Clubhouse, before this thing goes public, so that we can shift the world, so we can shift these paradigms, because that's why we're all, I believe we were all brought together. That's why we're all here. I passed your podcast for weeks, Brendan. I don't even know how it got in my algorithm. It just appeared one day. And then I just hopped in there, and here I am. So I really want to encourage you. I've been in these rooms kind of sending people over to Paradigm Shift Central so that they can get together with the group. But yeah, do that. Like, send people over, heal people, help drop off the tools, drop off the name, drop off your name. And don't be afraid to reach out to people. Get up in these rooms and just speak. There's so many stages where people, they know that people aren't used to public speaking, and they're very open to let you come in. Also, we're light workers, so remember in this space to protect your energy. I can feel the energy dropping in some of these rooms pretty quickly, and I'll go ahead and leave. Don't feel like you need to stay in a space, even if you're moderating in that room. If it starts, the energy starts to drop, just say respectfully, and excuse yourself, or just go. Don't feel bullied to stay. Don't let anyone, steal your energy, take advantage of you. Make sure you're balanced with your feminine, empathetic side, but also your masculine side, where you're standing, in your integrity and your morals and what we believe in our group of people here. This is the outer bubble. As they say, there's no one in the matrix to get people out of the matrix. I feel like that's us.
That's awesome. Zentia, thank you so much. And again, thank you for being here. And with that said, we're going to wrap this up. If there is anybody that just wanted to jump in real quick, we'll do that. But just to honor the time frame, we'll wrap it up in just another minute. And yeah, Zentia, you were saying the idea of like creating a club, what they refer to as the groups on Clubhouse. As far as I know, like they're not accepting applications for that. So I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye open for that. But I agree. I think it would be great if we could have like a Paradigm Shift Central club in Clubhouse. That's definitely something that I've wanted to be able to do. We'll see how possible that is in the future. And really just encouraging everyone to use Clubhouse as a powerful tool to be able to connect with people. For those of you who are tuned in on YouTube, again, we're doing things differently right now. Like we're literally, more people are tuned in listening on YouTube right now than are on our Clubhouse. But again, I think as we get into the habit of this, at the very least, even if nobody tunes in for these, there's still great practice for us individually here within the team. And that in itself is part of the core reason why I wanted to be able to do it, just for us to be able to continue to connect and build and grow and develop these relationships. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in. I'll just open up the floor one more time for just any quick closing gratitude and literally just like 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we'll finish off this circle. So anybody else who just wanted to share anything real quick about how inspired and full your heart may feel right now, please, by all means, go right ahead. And thank you again, everyone. So,
I just want to share gratitude for this space and community. As somebody who hasn't really had a strong family support system, it's nice to have that in the spiritual community, especially, moving forward in the next endeavors. So much gratitude, appreciation for the space and everyone just showing up in the way that you are, because it allows, it's the seeds that we don't know that we're planting that are blooming, and just I have so much gratitude and appreciation for that. So I just want to share that with all of you guys.
Thank you, Micah. Absolutely, we're planting those seeds. Gardeners of the galaxy, gardeners and guardians of the galaxy. So awesome. Kristen, do you want to share anything? I saw your mic open. Go ahead.
I would just love to share my gratitude for all of you amazing souls. Sometimes I find it hard to find the words to describe my love and gratitude for each and every one of you, and all of the spaces that we share, and the healing and the encouragement. And I truly appreciate each and every one of you on an individual level, on a collective level. I love watching you all grow and love watching us grow together, and excited to see, how we continue to just move in all the spaces that we do.
Ditto, 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 ditto. Love you.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kristen.
Ditto.
Love you. I love you. Beautiful. All right. I think we're good, team. I think that's a great place to be able to end on, unless anybody else felt like they really needed to be able to say anything on top of all the beautiful love that we've poured into this space. One last call.
Can I just quickly plug Rob's meditation one more time? If anybody's looking for a meditation, he's on air right now.
Go right ahead, Amanda.
So if anyone's looking for a meditation tonight, Rob's on air right now. He's just waiting a couple of minutes to see if anybody wants to jump in. So once we're done here, if you all want to come join us, that would be greatly appreciated.
And the link for Rob's broadcast is in the Discord, and I'm literally just putting up another post for that right now at the time of this recording. So yeah, if everyone wants to be able to jump over there and show some support for Rob, and any other time you see any of the other creators posting in our Discord or got any live broadcasts going on, again, it's always appreciated when you just get the opportunity to be able to jump in and show your support in all forums. And yeah, thank you again, everyone, for being here. This was awesome. And just a quick little housekeeping, since I got a few of the leading members here on air. We're still putting out the call for anybody who would like to lead team meditation for Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So leading members, if one of you wants to be able to do that, spots open. I know Cosmic is going to be doing Wednesday, and then Thursday is also open. So just coordinating back-end stuff with you guys there. If you guys want to do that, just go ahead and let us know in the Discord and everything. And yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. I know there's plenty more for us to be able to talk about. This was just one little snippet of an ongoing conversation, and thank you, and I'm so glad that we were able to just kind of take a swing at getting things rolling here on Clubhouse. And this was a wonderful experience for me, and I'm so happy that we all got to be able to take on this journey together. There's not really much more I have to be able to share. So for those of you in YouTube who are watching this in the future, check the links in the info, and you'll find the link for the Discord, the Patreon, where you can join as a leading member, and that's the easiest way to be able to connect with the other creators here within this beautiful community that we are building, and that you are welcome to be a part of. So thank you, each and every single one of you. So let's finish it off. Make some noise, send some love. We love you guys. Go ahead, unmute your mics. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Beautiful. All right. Okay, ending the room now. And thank you again, everyone. Much love. And until next time, take care. Peace. Thank you again, YouTube. See you in the Discord.